The Drop Back with Sam Lewis, Matt Burns-Peak and Joe Costanzo.
And we're back with another episode of the Drop Back podcast. I'm Sam Lewis and as ever joined down the line by Joe Costanzo.
And we're back and we're ready to record all over again.
Topical this week.
Yeah, it is. Election time, baby.
And by the time this episode comes out, we'll have maybe a new government.
Yeah. How exciting.
Is it probably better to steer away from this topic?
Well, maybe. Let's not alienate whatever, the viewers which we have. Let's keep them.
No, it's not worth halving the people that actually do bother to tune in, that we do appreciate. Probably not best to alienate them straight off the bat.
No, we love you all.
Love you all, except for Matt, who has decided...
Yeah.
Well, the Dolphins lost this week, so he should be here. He's got no excuse. I don't know if he's using up his spare time from last week.
Yeah, I think he threw his mic in a pond or something.
Threw his mic in a pond?
Yeah, that's what the news is around the...
Yeah, that's what everyone's heard. So that's the news, that Matt threw his mic into a pond. And Matt, if you want to contradict that, maybe come on the podcast and say your side of the story.
Bins up. All right.
He's going to be fuming.
Yeah, well, he should be.
Quite right. Okay, so we start as ever with the Uniball games, and it's the last full slate of games before the Christmas break. And so the biggest takeaway I had from this break was Sterling going into the strong position. They beat Beckett last week, Durham this week to go to 4-2 on the season. In terrible conditions against Durham, 6-0, eked out a victory. And it's a big win for Sterling going into the new year. 4-2 now. Yeah,
for sure. It was a tough fought, low scoring, defensively driven, terrible weather game. Certainly not what's expected out of the high paced offense we see out of Durham. But I think, like we said all year with Sterling has the ability to win these sort of tough, physical games as much as any team in the league. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the other game in this week is 23. Nottingham went away to Leeds Beckett, won 23-6. And it's not often you do see Leeds Beckett, since they've made that jump to the Premiership, lose by such a wide margin. And for Nottingham starting their season without a win, a huge victory for them. And they do have a game next week against Coventry, who are also without a win this season. This could be a turning point for the season. If they can get this good win against Coventry next week, they go into the season at go into the Christmas break at 500 and look to push on from that to where they feel they should have been going into the season.
Yeah, and as we said with Uniball, it's kind of like if you can win 2 games in the season, then you're pretty much set in terms of making the playoffs and not getting demoted. It's 2 on the bounce, isn't it, for Leeds Beckett, if I'm right?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But just kind of surprising given what we were saying the other week about them seeing the potential to make the playoffs this year.
Maybe we cursed them a little bit. We were all over them after 3 games. Yeah, they're on their way. They're great on offense, solid on defense, and now 2 games on the bounce. I'll look to regroup over this Christmas break.
Yeah, we laid a turd on the parade there, didn't we?
Laid a turd on the parade. Stick down a t-shirt, Leeds Beckett. And so moving to the south, a hugely impressive victory from UEA, winning their second game of the season, 26-12, against a Swansea side who have been actually pretty impressive so far this campaign. And that's a massive victory for East Anglia.
Yeah, for sure. I really didn't expect them to eke out this kind of victory, but I'm surprised. And
no, it's good to see them finally finding their footing in the Premiership. They had a tough start, and it is quite a jump from that Division 1 up to that Premiership standard. And the game against Hearts, a lot of people may be writing that off as Hearts, because Hearts have been struggling so badly so far. But Swansea are an established programme, and to beat them semi-comfortably is a huge statement from this side.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other game I think we probably would have seen coming, the undefeated Birmingham going away to the winless Hertfordshire Hurricanes, and put another trouncing on that side. That's 2 on a bounce for them. They got smashed by UE last week, beaten soundly by Birmingham this week. Birmingham, the only team in the Premiership, North or South, to go into the Christmas break without a loss.
Yeah, their defensive line has continued to show dominance every single game this season. I think we kind of expected this, to be honest, out of what we've seen out of both teams, but Birmingham have just continued to show their dominance against a very underachieving Hurricanes team. So something's going to have to give for Hertfordshire coming up after the Christmas break. They need to turn things around.
Well, yeah, you look at their record, 0-6, only 28 points scored and 212 conceded. They're just not a team built for these high-scoring games. They need their defense to play solidly, and they want to run the ball. That's how they're built.
Yeah, point differential is worse than your fantasy team, so
that's unfair. That's unfair. I can't do anything about the points I concede.
Yeah, well, you could do something about winning some games.
Not at this point. I've scored quite a few points. I'm like third in points scored, which is the most unfair thing about it. Fuming about that. And
you should play better defense, mate.
I should play better defense. You're right. That's exactly what my advice for my fantasy team would be. But then on the flip side of that, Birmingham, 142 points scored, only 18 conceded, and we've raved all season about their defensive line. But that whole defense has stepped up. Only 18 points in 5 games. That's less than 4 points conceded a game. That's outrageous.
Yeah, I'd pit them against the Pats D at this point.
You would. Let's set it up. Let's try and we'll message both sides, see if they're interested.
I'll just quickly DM Tom Brady and see what he's saying.
He said he was on to the Cincinnati, so he may be a little bit trouble. Maybe an off-season exhibition game if Birmingham are up for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So the two games next week. We have final game before Christmas break, not at home to Coventry, and the role the Nottingham are on, hopefully they'll want to take that momentum from the big Leeds Beckett win, and Coventry have got to pick up some points so far. They've only played 3 games. They haven't scored. Their defence hasn't played badly, only 39 points conceded. Yes, so it's about 20 points a game conceded, giving that forfeit they had against Leeds Beckett in week 1, which isn't actually a horrendous defensive record. They could start putting some points on, keeping these games closer. They might be able to grab enough wins to make it into the playoffs. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's kind of like we said with Hearts, it's kind of put up or shut up with Coventry now. And what's wrong with that?
I don't know. It just seems overly harsh.
Put up or shut up. You know, I mean, it's unfortunate that obviously the start of the season was kind of slow and they've only played 3 games so far, but they have to...
Exactly. I think the way the game schedule's fallen for them has been tricky. They had that suspension and then they had the game ruled off, and it sort of halted their momentum coming into the season after a big promotion campaign last time around.
Yeah, but Nottingham has shown at times this season that obviously they are beatable. They've only got 1 win, so unless I'm completely wrong.
No, you're right.
No, they are. They've only got 1 win. So, you know, it's a beatable game. It's not like they're playing some of the bigger giants of this North Division. So, you know, it could happen.
And the other game in the South, we have the 2-2 Swansea Titans hosting Uwe Bullets, who are at 3-1, coming off a bye week after trouncing Hertfordshire Hurricanes. And I think this should be I think it may be a high-scoring game, this one. Uwe have got a good defence, but when that Swansea passing attack gets rolling, it can be tricky to stop, as it has been shown in the recent weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to take Uwe on this one. I just think what they've shown this year has just been basically just offensive dominance. So I just don't think Swansea will have enough firepower to keep up with. So in sync, it's unbelievable. I know. We're just, you know, these duo podcasts, we're just really picking up the synchronization.
Yeah, take that, Matt.
Yeah, screw you.
So I think that's the end of our Uniball coverage for this week. I think we're going to try and get some big stuff out over the Christmas break after all the games have been wrapped up. We'll definitely be doing a first half of the season wrap up, second half of the season preview, and maybe, if we have time, a couple of other little bits sneaked in between. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Drop a little hint there. I think that's how we're supposed to do it. I'm not entirely sure. So moving on to the NFL, and we're in the running now. We've got 3 games left until the playoffs, and there are some very tight races still to play at the moment. We'll start with the AFC South. The Texans and the Titans tied on 8 and 5. The Colts a couple of games behind on 6 and 7. The Jags, well, they're way off. And I think what they have shown is that maybe the biggest issue in Jacksonville isn't the Minshew versus Nick Foles debate, is it?
No. I mean, to be honest, Minshew deserves the starting job there. So no quarrels with that. But Jacksonville just haven't really been anything this year. They've been just a mediocre team. I think in this AFC South division, it's definitely the Texans division to lose. I mean, they're in the seat at the moment, but with this game coming up next week, which we're going to move on to later, it could swing both ways. The Titans have looked really good with Tannehill taking over the role under center.
Well, yeah, if they'd been had Mariota, I think they'd be out of this by now. Tannehill's actually been 6-1 now as a starter in Tennessee. There's talks that they're trying to negotiate a contract for him to be there next year, maybe a few years going forward. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I'm sure that's probably going to come out in the next few weeks or so.
You've got to stick with the hot hand, Slew.
Pardon?
You got to stick with the hot hand.
You got to stick with the hot hand. I mean, it's not even a close competition. If you're going to start Mariota at this point, then you're ridiculous. But the fact that these two teams play each other twice in the run-in, I think is hugely exciting. And great job by the NFL schedulers as well at the moment.
Yeah, all these in-division games right at the end of the season just to, spice things up a bit. I think the Colts still have an outside chance, and they've got 3 division wins, but I can't really see them getting anything.
My issue with the Colts is I like the story with Jacoby Brissett, but he's just not a starting quarterback. He's not consistent enough. He's a fantastic backup that can come in and win a few games, but he's not going to take you. If he manages to get you to the playoffs, he's not going to do much there. Their defense isn't dominant enough for him to rely on just dumping the ball off and pounding the ball. I don't think they're going to win games going forwards with Jacoby Brissett. And from a team and a squad that was touted as a Super Bowl contender early in the season, especially before the retirement. I know that, but people were still pointing to how great their squad was. And they've been somewhat of a disappointment, especially over the second half of this season.
Yeah. I mean, their next 3 games, they're not going to win against the Saints. I doubt it. I doubt they're going to win against the Panthers.
I wouldn't put it past them. The Panthers have been pretty shoddy themselves as well.
Yeah,
and they might manage to get a win in Jacksonville, but at that point, it may almost be too late for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the thing with the Texans is you just don't know what they are. Last week, we were saying that they beat the Patriots. They've finally turned that corner. They're finally there. They're that good team. They're a contender. But then they go and get blown out by the Denver Broncos. And it's the same old issues for them. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. And if Deshaun Watson has to do everything, yes, he'll have some games like he did last week against the Patriots. But you can't have him do everything every single week. And this Titans defense is actually pretty solid. And I fancy the Titans to win this division. And not just because of my bias against Bill O'Brien, which I had to be quiet about last week.
Yeah, I've got the Titans winning this division as well. To be honest, I think they've got a more favourable stretch of games. I kind of...
But they basically got the same stretch of games. They play each other twice.
Yeah, I know. But I favour them against the Texans. The Texans, well, I mean, I don't want to go into it now because we're
going into it later in this episode. That's absolutely fine. And it's that middle game because at the Bucs, it depends which Bucs show up. And I wouldn't put it past Jameis Winston to score 40 points on this Texans defense.
It doesn't. It's annoying. Like
it's annoying.
And then we'll see him. Oh, it's one of those Jameis days.
Yeah, so the Texans will be hoping for one of those Jameis days, and the Titans will be hoping for one of those Jameis days.
Exactly. We're definitely getting one of those Jameis days.
We always do. Sometimes we may get both in one.
Yeah, that's very true. I haven't seen... Well...
You're right there, Joe?
No. I'm just, Jameis got me all scrambled.
Yeah, it hurts your brain just thinking about him, trying to work him out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out which one's going to show up.
Do you think of a job next year with the Bucs?
I don't... Nah. Maybe. Like, I think there's quite a few QBs who are going to be available in free agency this year. And I don't see the Bucks getting a particularly great draft pick because of their record, but good enough for maybe a
Justin Herbert,
maybe, or like a Jalen Hurts later on in the round, but
yeah, we'll see. That'll be something to look forward to in the offseason, see which direction they take that in.
But I don't think if they pick any of them up that they'll particularly do very well with them.
No, they've got a whole team to deal with at the moment.
Yeah.
So moving on to the AFC East, Patriots lost 2 in a row now. This one you could argue they were unlucky. Some refereeing decisions went against them, and Joe, you're not going to feel any sympathy towards the Patriots over that, are you?
I don't think anyone does, to be honest. The amount of ref decisions they had it go in their favour over the years. The one time it does happen.
2 times. It happened twice in
the same game.
Yeah,
I know. But I mean, was there anyone who wasn't, wearing a Tom Brady jersey that was was angry about that? I don't.
Yeah,
think so.
I mean, Yeah, I was, and not because I wanted the Patriots to win, but you just want to see consistent refereeing throughout the league, realistically, so you know where you stand.
Well, if there's one thing to define this season, it's not consistent refereeing.
That's true. They started overturning defensive pass interference calls again, which is good to know. I don't know if it's to give players a little bit of a run into the playoffs. Like, right, once we get to the playoffs, we're going to start overturning these. Like, what? So the rest of the regular season doesn't matter then?
Yeah, that's effectively what they're saying if it happens. But about the AFC East, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can't see the Bills overtaking the Pats in the next 3 games because they've got the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Jets. So I imagine they're probably going to.
Yeah, and the Patriots play the Bengals and the Dolphins, which you think are probably going to be 2 wins there. The Dolphins at home, the Bengals are a dumpster fire. So you think even without that Bills game, they're 12-3.
Yeah, but I mean I can obviously, so the Bills are probably going to beat the Jets, and they'll make the playoffs on a wild card effectively.
Yeah, and then I'll be right with my preseason prediction of the Bills, who have been more impressive, especially on offense, than I thought they were going to be this year. They were hard done by in the Baltimore Ravens game. Yes, they got outplayed, but everyone gets outplayed by Lamar Jackson. But they had a game plan, and they actually managed to contain that Baltimore offense for a lot of the game.
Yeah, no, it was genuinely quite a tough game. I was quite scared at many stages.
But I think the Bills are going to be one of those wildcard teams that you don't want to face in the playoffs because they're not an easy win.
No, for sure not. Yeah, they've got a very, very good defense. First and foremost, Josh Allen has progressed as a passer this year. He still overthrows his receivers, and we saw that a lot last week. But I can definitely see them getting at least 1 win in the playoffs. Definitely
upsetting it. So speaking of them sneaking into the wild card, I think that's the next one because this AFC wild card is pretty muddled as is. So the Ravens and the Pats, I feel, should win their divisions. The Ravens haven't quite clinched, but they're basically there.
We have clinched the playoffs.
Same with the Pats. The Chiefs at 9-4 should be there as well. But then you get to these other teams. Texans at 8-5, who we spoke about. Bills at 9-4. Steelers, who after a horrific off-season starts of this season are at 8-5. And you can only commend Mike Tomlin for rebuilding this defense and what they've managed to do with the pieces they have.
Yeah, for sure. What we found out is that Duck Hodges is way better than Mason Rudolph.
Well, Mason Rudolph, like we said, was trashed. What you said, he's going to get remembered for getting smacked in the head, and that'll be it. I don't think he'll start for another NFL team. He hasn't shown anything. No,
he hasn't. Duck Hodges, at least, he's not going to turn the ball over.
Exactly. And then also at 8-5 again, and we spoke about them earlier, the Tennessee Titans, and then you've got 3 teams at 6-7. The Cleveland Browns, Oakland Raiders, and the Indianapolis Colts. Can any of those 3, do you think?
And the Broncos are in the hunt.
At what, 5-8?
Yeah, technically they're in the hunt. There's way too many variables. But it's one of those where if they win out, and then the Raiders fall over the kitchen table,
stumbling everywhere.
yeah, then they might get in. But yeah, so out of the in the hunt team, so the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, the Colts, and the Broncos. Like I said, and like you've said, I think the Titans are probably going to win the AFC South. So I've got them making the playoffs. The Browns would have to win their next 3 against Arizona, Baltimore, and Cincinnati, and I just don't see them doing that.
Which one do you don't think they're going to win? The Baltimore one?
Well, I don't think they'll win the Baltimore one, but also they did beat us earlier on in the season. But I just don't see them winning 3 out of 3. It's not out of the Browns I've seen this year. They're too inconsistent. They show glimpses of being great and then just stretches like terrible decisions.
Yeah, the one team I could see, because the Steelers look like a team that could finish 9-6. That doesn't add up, doesn't it? Wait, I think
A finish 9-6.
that doesn't make sense, does it? They might have to finish.
They could finish 10-6.
Yeah, maybe it's 9-7. Yeah, 9-7. I just did the maths wrong. I just added to the wrong sides. So they play the Bills at home this week, which we'll get onto later, but that's a tricky one. At the Jets, you feel if you can't beat the Jets, what's the point? The Miami Dolphins almost beat the Jets if it wasn't for a pass interference call this week.
But the Jets have also looked really good this season at random sporadic intervals.
And then they go at the Ravens. And even if the Ravens have a first round bye, I can't see them resting players at home against the Steelers. They're not. You can't do that against a home crowd, can you? The Ravens.
Well, I could imagine potentially resting Lamar Jackson, but that's it.
What? So you take a loss to the Steelers?
I don't
See what I mean?
know.
If it wasn't the Steelers, yes, I could see them doing that. But it's because it's the Steelers.
What, just to secure?
Well, do you want to lose your final regular season game to the Steelers?
Yeah, but do I want Lamar to tear his ACL going into the playoffs?
No, neither of that. I suppose losing to Steelers would be a lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
But also if it means knocking the Steelers out of playoff contention.
It depends if we're on the verge of keeping our bye or not, which I don't.
That's the
think we
thing.
will
I
be.
think the Patriots will probably be one game behind you at that point. So, I mean, you'll have to head over them. So maybe you might.
Yeah.
But either way, so that they could be about 9-7 coming that far when it's all said and done. And then the Raiders, if a good Raiders turn up, they play home to the Jags, away to the Chargers, and then home to the Broncos. And those are all winnable games.
Yeah, but they're in the last 3 games they've lost all their games, and they haven't lost them by. They haven't necessarily been very close games, so I just don't really trust the form they're in currently to win their next 3, whether or not they're against very beatable teams, which they are. I mean, they've had a tough outing, but yeah, no, I don't see the Raiders getting through. I can see, basically, out of this, I can imagine the AFC wildcard picture is going to look like the Titans are going to win the AFC South, so then it'll be the
Texans at the 5th.
Bills,
or 6th seed.
Bills and the Texans, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got the Steelers probably missing out just.
Okay.
Give or take, and the Broncos are screwed.
Yeah, the Broncos would have to have like everyone lose up there.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those like tenfold accumulator bets.
You're definitely going to get off recording this and then put a tenner on the Broncos to make the playoffs, aren't you?
Well, I'll have to look at the let me just look. Let me just find the
odds on that. So while you do look at the odds on that, let's move on to the NFC, and I think the most tightly fought. Actually, to be fair, there's 3 really tightly fought divisions. The Saints have tied up their NFC South, and they close to getting a bye in that. I think if a few go their way, especially with some teams facing each other in these top 2 divisions, they may be able to sneak a bye. So we'll start with the NFC West with the 49ers at 11-2, the Seahawks at 10-3, and the Rams maybe pushing for a wildcard spot. Maybe now they've got rolling again at 8-5. Maybe left it a little bit too late.
Yeah.
But this one looks like it's going to come down to the wire with the Seahawks playing at home to the 49ers in week 17.
I think both of these teams have been pretty amazing this year. Russell MVP.
Russell MVP.
He's been an MVP candidate, obviously. Everyone's been saying it. And I don't know. I think the 49ers aren't really going to... They've shown this season that they have the ability to... And that... their defense has been impeccable. That Seahawks game, the last game, went into overtime and it required a missed field goal for them to lose it. I just think...
And now they've got their main kicker back.
Yeah. But I think the 49ers will probably win it. Seahawks will make a wild card. But, yeah, and I don't see LA beating... LA's next 3 games are Cowboys, San Francisco, and Arizona. So
Well, you don't think they can beat the Cowboys?
I think they can definitely beat the Cowboys, and I think they can definitely beat the Cardinals. Leave them with a 10-6 record.
I hope they can beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, you hope just so someone can win the NFC East.
Well, someone will win it.
Unfortunately,
I
yes.
guarantee. I put a sandwich bet on it. Someone will win it.
It's a bit of a shame that someone in the NFC has to win because it takes one of the playoff teams.
Do you know what's a shame? It is that we should have wrapped this up by now. If we had beaten Miami, we'd basically be in the driving seat now.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I know we didn't, but we should have because it's Miami and it still aggravates me.
Do you back yourselves against the Giants tonight?
Oh mate, if we lose to the Giants tonight, I'm done with this season.
You should be done with this season anyway.
I'm close. Teetering, mate. I'm teetering.
Anyway, yeah, but
Arsenal finally won tonight, so maybe it's a turning for everything. But
I don't think so.
No. I can dream.
You can dream wrong.
Still be a dream, wouldn't it?
It would be a dream. Nothing more.
So you're done. You're calling this 49ers win the West.
49ers win the West.
Rams don't manage to sneak enough wins to get it.
No. I think the
they're actually only one game back.
North is too tight.
They're only one game back from the Vikings now.
I know, but I don't even know who the next 3 games are for the Vikings.
Who? The Vikings. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, so they go to the Chargers.
They'll win that.
Home to the Packers.
Close.
And then they play the Bears.
They should win that.
They should win that, but
I think even with that, I think the Vikings will take the wild card spot over the Rams and the Seahawks.
Let's move to the NFC. Let's move to the NFC North. Can the Vikings do enough, especially in that 1 week, to make up the difference, that 1 game difference between them and the Packers? The Packers also play the Bears, and then they finish off their season going to Detroit.
I think the Vikings aren't going to overtake the Packers by any stretch of the imagination. I imagine they probably lose head-to-head against the Packers again. And yeah, so Green Bay are definitely in the driving seat for the NFC North.
Do they manage to get that that bye?
At the moment, they're sitting. As it stands, I think they are current. They do.
They've got a tied record with New Orleans. My thing with the Packers is they don't look anywhere near as dominant as they did about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hugely convincing win this week against the Redskins, who are terrible.
Yeah, for sure.
20-15 against a shitty Washington team.
Yeah, and they've just been disappointing all year, as if you can just roll up there with Aaron Bloody Rodgers, one of the man with the...
Aaron Bloody Rodgers.
And Aaron Bloody Rodgers can sling the ball 60 yards from his knees.
The thing is, when you watch him as well, he's starting to get all Tom Brady-like in the commentators' eyes. They just lord over him. He's completing a 5-yard pass without any pressure. And the commentators are like, there's no other quarterback in the league that can make that throw.
I can name a few.
I could probably name, 32 that would make that wide open pass, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. One of them being Mitch Trubisky, the boy.
The revival of Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky against those Cowboys, huh?
How about them Cowboys?
How about them boys? Them boys made Mitch Trubisky look like, I don't know.
Like 2018 Mitch Trubisky, he was like all right and he was good enough, but he wasn't no world beater.
But he looked like a world beater against them boys.
Them boys.
Them boys.
So the Bears, like the Rams, you think they've left it that little bit too late to live up to expectations?
And their next 3 games are Green Bay, Kansas City, and Minnesota. So
yeah, those are hard games.
They're not going to win any of those. I think they're just going to finish the season 7-9 and have a mediocre draft pick. But, you know, I think... So in the NFC, like in general...
Yeah.
The wild card race is going to be, so Green Bay win the NFC North, and then the Vikings and the Seahawks get the wild card spots there.
Yeah, I think whoever loses the Week 17 matchup between the Niners and the Seahawks the loser of that will be in the 5th seed, right?
Yeah, pretty much. If everything goes to plan.
But that's the thing, Joe. Not everything goes to plan, and then we reach the division where nothing has gone to plan, and one of these teams will make the playoffs. And they'll obviously make a deep run and get to the Super Bowl because, of course, they will.
Because this division's dead.
I'm just believing, Joe. I believe. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that call. That might have been a great call.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pundits and fans of these teams, me including, just hoping one of these is going to be a giant killer in the playoffs. Oh, you wouldn't want to face these teams on a wet night in January. Yeah, you would. Out of the options, yeah, you would want to face one of these teams.
Well, speaking of giant killers, Philly's next few games, the New York Giants tonight on Monday, as you all know that we record on Mondays.
All of you know that.
Everyone knows by now.
Everyone knows that.
Then Washington, Dallas, and New York again. So, I mean, all in-division games, all winnable games. They've got the easiest schedule out of the two, I'd say, provided they beat the Giants tonight. And yeah, so Dallas, I can't imagine they beat the Rams, and then they've got Philadelphia and Washington. So
we'll probably both. I think what's going to happen, realistically, given the golfing class when the Cowboys played us last time, is we're both going to finish at 8-8, and the Cowboys will have that head-to-head matchup over us.
Yeah, or like the Cowboys get in on 7-9 or something. You know, just to, you know, like when the Seahawks got in that one year and then somehow beat the Saints on the Marshawn Lynch run.
Well, that's what I'm feeling, Joe. Giant killers. It's going to happen. Book your tickets. Eagles going to the Super Bowl. It's all been to lull everyone into a false sense of security. Let's go, Birds.
No, I honestly don't care about this division. Whoever wins this division is just going to lose in the first round of the playoffs anyway. But yeah, I think.
Well, especially because the winner of this division is likely to play either the Seahawks or the Niners.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
no.
We almost beat the Seahawks last time at home.
No.
With Carson Wentz playing his worst game of his career.
No.
If we get healthy, it's going to happen, Joe.
No.
If it happens, it's going to happen.
You're incorrect. You're not even going to make the playoffs.
All right, here's what's going to happen.
Cowboys are going to win, and then
if we make the playoffs, and the Seahawks are in that 6th seed, because there's no way a 5th seed, because there's no way we beat the Niners, I will put a sandwich bet on the Eagles to beat the Seahawks at the 5th seed.
All right.
Yes. Don't know why I did that.
Why would you do that? It's just a free sandwich.
You got to have faith, Joe. You got to have faith.
Yeah, you've got to have dumbfounded faith. The question though, I mean, I don't know if we're probably overrunning, but if the Cowboys make the playoffs on like an 8-8 record, does Jerry Jones keep Jason Garrett?
Even if they make the playoffs on a 9-7 record, they shouldn't keep Jason Garrett.
Yeah, well, that's obviously.
But the question is, does he? I'll tell you what. I'll give him a ring afterwards and let you know. How about that?
Yeah, can you do it just after we ring Tom Brady about this Birmingham game?
Yeah. Obviously, priorities and all that.
Yeah.
I think, based on what he's been saying, if you look at a lot of his post-match interviews and all of that, I think, yes, probably they get rid of him.
Yeah. I mean,
provided they don't win a couple. If they win a couple of games, I think... is it his last year of his contract anyway?
I think so. I mean, he's speaking about it every game as if...
Like,
if
I
he's gonna fire
understand
him.
because at this point, why would you fire him? It doesn't really make much sense to fire him going into this stretch. There's that, who on that staff would you promote to head coach?
Kellen Moore.
Really? You think he's head coach? I'm not saying he's not a good offensive mind, but you think he's going to be a head coach?
I'd say who on that staff has the ability to be a head coach. He comes from a coaching family. He's always wanted to be a coach, effectively. I don't know.
He is a coach. Good. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't think anyone at this point would be an improvement enough at head coach to go through that turmoil going into such an important patch of the season.
Jerry Jones said pretty much that he wouldn't fire Jason Garrett during the season anyway, because then
I don't think it makes any
behind whichever coach takes it.
And then he's fought. Wait, they would or they wouldn't? Did you say?
They would rally. Yeah, they would rally if the Cowboys went out their next few games. Say he fired Jason Garrett last week after they lost to the Bears, and then is he forced to do what the Browns did and hire Freddie Kitchens, but it'll be Kellen Moore as their head coach. Yeah, but hopefully, Kellen Moore. Well, I imagine Kellen Moore has got it probably better than Freddie Kitchens, in all honesty.
But I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense for me to fire him at this point of the season. I think if you'd done it, you'd have done it by now.
Yeah, if you only bottle, Jerry.
If you only bottle Campbell.
Send him off. He's just sitting there clapping.
That's good. Nice job, Jerry. Good firing. Nice job. Let's go.
Let's go.
So, I think that leads us into our predictions for Week 15, and all of these have huge playoff implications, most of which are the teams we've spoken about already. The first one, the Texans are going into Tennessee to face the Titans. That Texans defense, though, it just doesn't scare me at all if I'm Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. And good luck stopping Derrick Henry at this point of the season.
Yeah, that's what I've got down. The Titans' run game has been led by Derrick Henry. He's the second in the league in rushing yards this year. It's just been phenomenal.
He's such a beast.
He is. And the weird thing is, he never looks like he's running that fast. He always just kind of looks like he's jogging. It doesn't make any sense. I swear sometimes I'm just like, why aren't you just running faster? But he makes so many yards after contact. He's just impossible to bring down with arm tackles. And he's really sort of shone over the last 2 years of his career and kind of jumped out of that hole that people were putting him in. Yeah, and I think
Tannehill's been a massive revelation at quarterback this year. He's taking the shots that Mariota wouldn't take. That huge pass to, I want to say, was it AJ Brown that caught the big 91-yard touchdown? Yeah. Who he did it? He threw that an absolute laser while getting hit by two defenders.
It was a pretty mental play, but and also the Texans have kind of shown a susceptibility to get gashed on big runs as well, which Derrick Henry is the man who ran for 99 yards on a play last season. So yeah, and couple that with the fact that Ryan Tannehill's performance, I can imagine the Titans win and dethrone Deshaun Watson and the Texans to become the AFC South leaders.
What, until 2 weeks later when they play each other again in Houston?
Yes.
Well, we'll probably have this exact conversation again, but just based on entirely what happened in this game.
Yes.
Okay, and the next game, Rams.
Who did you predict? You predicted the Titans as well.
The Titans, yeah. You know me, Joe. If it's a close game, I'm rarely going to pick the Texans.
Yeah, for sure.
I've just got this bias in my heart against Bill O'Brien. I don't know what it is, just something about him just rubs me the wrong way.
Is it because he's a weird mole man?
It certainly doesn't help.
No.
So the next game, the LA Rams going into Dallas. Dallas team reeling. They haven't played since Thanksgiving, so they've got a big rest to regroup and do what they do best, which is, I don't know, sort of pound the rock with Zeke. The Rams, though, these two does look like teams heading in different directions right now. If this game had been a month and a half ago with the Cowboys where they're at and then the Rams where they're at, you probably predicted the Cowboys to win this one.
Yeah.
But I think the Rams offense is finally getting rolling again over these last 2 weeks. And they're realising that the best thing they can do is ride Todd Gurley and it opens up their entire offense. So who'd have thought that?
Yeah, ride, Gurley, ride. Yeah, like you said, the Rams offense and Jared Goff in particular has kind of made up for their lack of production over the last few weeks. An amazing outing against the Seahawks. And I just really don't trust anyone in the NFC East at this point. So I'm going to take the Rams on this one. I think it's pretty clear cut, but also they've disappointed me at other times throughout the season. So who knows?
No, absolutely. I'm again going to go with the Rams in this one, mainly because I need the Rams to win this one, but mainly because I think they will as well.
Yeah, well.
Mixture of the two. It always will. That just means that they won't win it, though.
Yeah, that's irrelevant because you're probably going to lose to the Giants.
If we lose to the Giants, what is the point? It just stops saying it. It just puts me in a whole damper. Just let me at least have this hope that we've got a chance. Okay?
No, because you're going to lose.
You're a bastard. All right, so the final game we're looking at for Week 15 is AFC wildcard matchup. The Bills heading into the Steelers, seed 5 against seed 6. The Bills coming off a loss to the Ravens, and the Steelers coming off a win against the Cardinals. And they seem to be picking up wins everywhere at the moment. I just don't understand how they're happening, but maybe it's a little bit to do with Duck Hodges and a lot to do with their defense.
Yeah, the Steelers' defense has been phenomenal this year, really. I don't think they pose as big a defensive threat as the Bills faced last week against a strong Baltimore Ravens team.
That Ravens team crushed the Bills O-line multiple times.
Yeah, we were just getting all over Josh Allen.
I think that was the best defensive performance I've seen from you guys this year, including the Patriots game. And Marcus Peters made an incredible play against, I can't remember who it was, Cole Beasley. I think it was John Brown near the end of the game where he reached over and flicked the ball away.
Yeah, I think it was John Brown as well.
Was John Brown. But those are the type of players that you traded him for, and if he keeps making those plays, you're going to go far in the playoffs. But again, back on this one, I think the Bills probably managed to snag it. Their defense still looked good. It's arguably the biggest...
Yeah, it was a really tough game.
Biggest test that the Ravens have faced this year.
Apart from the 2 losses.
Well, the 2 losses were different because it wasn't as much... Because that was the other team getting out to a big lead. This is the best the team has done in shutting down the run game while Ravens were still in a position to run the ball.
True.
The Steelers, however efficient Duck Hodges is, he's not a world beater, is he? I think 17 of 19 passes, but only 100 odd passing yards. So he's not going to light the Bills out, and that running game, it doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. The Steelers need this to be a low-scoring game to have a good chance. And I think that Bills offense is going to want to bounce back from the Ravens game. I think they probably win this one.
I think they're going to want to bounce back. I don't think it's going to be a particularly high-scoring affair, to be honest. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Bills. I think it will be a closer game, and I can't imagine it over 21 points scored in the whole thing, to be honest. I think both of these defenses are really good. We saw what the Bills' offensive line were like last week against some complex blitz packages, and I think TJ Watt's gonna get to Josh Allen.
Is TJ Watt playing? I saw him on the sideline towards the end of the Cardinals game. I didn't know if it was hurt or catching a breather.
I think he's playing. Otherwise, well, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm pretty.
Yeah, I think it is. He must have just been catching a breather. You know when you see a player kneeling on the sideline with water being squirted down their back, and you don't know if they're injured or just knackered.
Yeah, because the first thing they want you to do, the first thing they do when someone's injured is squirt water down their back. I
don't know. Well, it looked like he'd taken a knock and he was just sort of dazed on the sidelines, and then try and wake him up or whatever.
Doctor, he needs 50 cc's of water stat.
Well, why else would you not have one of your best players in the game as the Cardinals are making their final drive down the field? But
because Mans is tired.
Man is tired.
Yeah, Mans has done some absolute bits. He got an interception and stuff. Lots of stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
so we're both taking the Bills?
We're both taking the Bills, both taking the Titans, both taking the Rams, which means the other 3 teams are probably going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest.
Actually, you know what? I think I had a pretty good record this week. You know, Matt's gaining on you as well.
Oh no. Oh. I was pretty bad with the predictions this week. Do we have an overall? Do you have that available?
I don't have it
spot
as of now.
Oh,
but
it's just because you're lazy.
I also just didn't think it was going to come up. I can quickly get it up for you if you'd like. The issue is I don't have this week's results. I can see what the standings were going into this week.
Yeah.
All right, so Matt is only 5 games behind you now. Ooh. You're 5 games behind me, so it's actually tightens up going to the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's just like the playoffs, man. It's really heating up.
Especially because you went 6-10 and Matt went 13-3 the week before last.
Yeah, so Matt's.
Well, I'm just going to go down the predictions before we close up the show. Both on the Cowboys. Matt got the Falcons. You had the Panthers. All of the Ravens. Joe, you went with the Bengals.
Yeah, because
or when the Packers, or when the Vikings, or when the Niners. Yes, you did.
I can't have gone for the Bengals.
Let me just double check. I may have to change that, but I'm pretty sure you did go to the Bengals, mate.
Maybe the way I format my
you went for Cincinnati.
What was I doing?
All went for the Dolphins, which obviously meant that Matt went for the Bucks, you went for the Colts, so that's 3-0 for him on games difference. I went for the Chargers, or went for the Titans, I went for the Pats. Matt went for the Steelers, you went for the Cardinals, so I think he's 1 game behind you.
Jesus.
And then, I think so. It looks like I'll have to do math later just to double check, but it looks like he's 1 game behind you going to the final 3 weeks of the season. Does that make you scared? Does that make you nervous, Joe?
What do we even win for this?
Pride and whatever that smashing noise was, we win that as well.
Oh, that was me putting my phone back on the radiator.
Right, we win your radiator then.
Skirt.
All right, so I think with that harrowing look into Joe's future, losing to Matt, we'll wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our website, thedropback.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at thedropback, on Facebook at thedropbackuk. I've been Sam.
I've been Joe.
And until next time,
peace.
Goodbye.